Hello, welcome to the field. So that's what we're talking about, bracken. Now, this isn't for farmers. This is for people who work on a smaller scale. And if my position sounds familiar, then watch on and learn how to, one method of how to control bracken. Here you go, you can see, look at this very healthy, fresh growth of bramble, but in there, growing up amongst it, is bracken. Now, this field was largely neglected for about 15 years before I got here, and the borders grew in by, in some cases, 10-15 metres. And what I'm trying to do here is to return the... I'm going to try and push the scrub, the bramble and bracken, into retreat and gain more field, eventually make some meadow. So, yeah, it's grassland. Here we are in May, and it's very pretty. I love coming here. But here's the thing. So, in beating back the bracken, it's good fun. And I had some success in the first year and a half, 2 years. I cleared this area, for example, and all down there, and all of this. So I cleared out this clearing, and here we are in May with the bluebells just past the peak. And I'm going to have to give this a strim. I'm going to have to treat this like a lawn. So just quickly, how to clear the bracken and bramble. Well, you need something like this. If it's just a short-term project, I suggest you rent a good machine rather than buy a cheap one. And I've bought a rather excessive blade, which I keep sharp, and has these fins so it cuts in two directions. That's called a mulching blade, and it eats through brambles rather. Heavy duty thing there. So I did that, and I got a bit carried away and cleared between half an acre and an acre. Half a football pitch, let's say. And that's not the end of the job, because next year, in the spring, let me show you. Unless you're being super smart, which I'm not. So you cut back the bramble, but it grows back. Look, here you go. Now that needs digging up. You have to dig that up by the roots, or it'll come back. And the other thing that happens, here's a tiny one. This thing here is a just emerged bracken sprout, and I squashed it. The vascular system is foobar, and that sprout is not coming back from that. And that's basically my method for, well, it's not my method, it's a very ancient method, but I'm adapting it to get rid of bracken, because it'll keep coming back. So what I want to do today is to explore why it keeps coming back, the methods that have been employed and are employed to get rid of it, and then my adjustment, which may or may not continue depending on my patience. For digging up the bracken, you can use this thing, a mattock. I've also found a reciprocating saw. This one is a cordless version. Those work for digging up bramble. So the mistake I made was to get too carried away, and I've left myself a big job, and I've got the best part of an acre of land where bracken is emerging. And let's talk about how I'm dealing with that, or not dealing with that. So I've made a little diagram to illustrate what I'm on about. And as you can see here, I need a pointer. I'll use a knife. As you can see here, this little root system here is called a rhizome, and it's that gives rise to these plants that pop up. However, they're all from the same individual plant. It's not like they're different ones. Off the rhizome root system is a further root system. Now this root system could be 70% of the overall plant, and the job of this root system is to collect water from the soil and dissolve nutrients, and also to store food in the form of sugar. So in the spring, these reserves are used to produce these plants. Now, if we want to kill the plant overall, it's not enough, therefore, just to knock all these down. We have to try and kill the root system. So there are several ways of doing this. Many farmers would use herbicides. There is a special herbicide for ferns, which is illegal now. And the other one that's widely used is the one beginning with G. What's it called? I can't remember. Anyway, I did an experiment with that, and I wasn't happy. I had a patch, and it didn't work, and it's led to mutant-like plants coming up, and it killed everything. So that's not what I want. Because I'm after preserving. I want to preserve the seeds that are in the soil. I want to preserve the mycorrhiza running underneath it, and I don't want to go killing plants that are already here. So I need another method. The most, on a big scale, what they do is they cut it back to maybe 3 times a year, and over 3 or 4 years, the supplies of carbohydrates, giving the thing energy in the deep roots, run out, and the plant is truly dead. So I don't have a mechanical flail or a tractor, although I do have my brush cutter. The other thing that has historically been used is animals. Now, one of the reasons bracken is so successful is it contains toxins that, number one, can inhibit other plants, and number two, causes cancer in a lot of livestock and indeed humans. So you need to be careful working around bracken in the summer when its spores are there. And you also need to there's one, gotcha. You also need to What was I going to say? I got distracted by bracken, which I'm trampling. Yeah. Oh yeah, so they would put pigs on to an area, and they recommend you put feed down for the pigs so that the pigs are not eating the bracken, because they will, they'll eat the rhizome. And they're trampling it with their hooves. So that's another way to control it. Because if you don't control it, within a few weeks it will be as tall as me. And it will be shading the grass that I want to encourage. So it's got to go. I don't mind bracken in certain parts, but it's encroaching on the field, and I want to stop its advance. It will advance a metre or more a year. Yeah, so that's what's happening there. I think I've taken this trampling idea and put it on steroids, and what I do is 3 times a week I'm going out and flattening any bracken I see emerging. Zero tolerance policy. I don't know how long I can keep this up, because it's up to 6 hours a week I'm spending time-wise doing this. And that's, you can see I've got other projects too. So for the moment, it is having some effect. Anyway, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. It's nuts. And if you're going to try this approach, I recommend you limit how much you're doing in terms of cutting down scrub to make it a manageable task. Because this is nuts. It takes me 2.5 hours to go around once and knacker the bracken. So let me show you some of the techniques that I'm employing, and yeah, that's where we're going with this. Cheers. So the obvious thing to do is to slash. Here you got an angle. If you bash that, you can sometimes knacker it. What you want is foobar. It won't grow back. Something that's clean cut, like that, it might grow back. Where possible, stamp on them. That'll foobar them. Another thing you can do is swing in at an angle. There you go, that's left that all furry and foobar. So most of the plants we've had so far are small and have not contributed much sugar back to the root system, which means it's a net loss for the bracken. Hello Robin, I'm being followed. Now what I'm going to do here is go deep. I've got a screw at the end of my stick for getting some that are out of reach. So there's that area cleared of bracken for a day or two. So these ones in long grass can be difficult to get because the grass cushions the action of your boot, so they need to be ground. And that hopefully is not coming back. This one's just popped out of the ground. It's only hours old. They splat most pleasingly. Here are two that haven't even really emerged yet. Still going to kill them. So this whole area was rife with bracken and bramble until I cut it down halfway through last season. And already I feel the bracken is in retreat. It's coming up. The plants it's throwing up are weedier. They're more dispersed. And they're being overshadowed by some of these grassland plants, which is really rather good. So in this area I get a feel that this ludicrous technique is working. Anyway, I only went over here yesterday, but I'm going to go again. Going in again.